So you are today to being a better, limited by what our conscious mind knows from experiencing the next breakthrough in your life. They had been separated for 5 months. People have reached a lot of success in their lives. Something just is off. In our memory, in our DNA, is rewiring our nervous system. Most people don't know they're in burnout mode. Sold one of my businesses in my highest form. I had something to anchor to. Rewired those memories and those feelings in her body.
What is breakthrough coaching and how is it different from traditional therapy or coaching?
Yeah, great question. So breakthrough coaching is really focused on breaking through ceilings in your life. And it could be in any area of your life. How do you get from point A to point B? How do you get from being a version of yourself that you are today to being a better, upgraded version of yourself, and ultimately continuing to get better 1% at a time? We often find ourselves limited by what our conscious mind knows, and we don't realize that there's so much. In fact, over 90% of all the information in our bodies is in our subconscious minds. And ultimately, you don't know what you don't know. Once you're reaching different ceilings in your life, that could be financial, that could be relationship, that could be life satisfaction, that could be your health. You start to wonder, like, how do I get there? How are these other people doing it? How do I get from here to having more financial success, having a better marriage, taking care of my health, healing from different conditions? And you just absolutely don't know how to get there. And I call that the invisible ceiling. That's why I started in this work. And what I do and what breakthrough coaching does is we go into your subconscious mind and we discover what's going on in there and that's been holding you back from experiencing the next breakthrough in your life.
Do you want me to repeat it again?
I thought that was pretty good.
I think that was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what kind of person typically comes to you for this work?
Yeah, so I have quite a few clients that I work with. And what I do is I do one-on-one private sessions. These are 6-hour-long sessions. And it's like many years of therapy into a few hours. I'm using cutting-edge modalities. And I combine both therapy modalities and coaching modalities all into one session. And then we do ongoing integration coaching to make sure you can implement all the awareness that you now have into your day-to-day life, your work, your relationship, your personal health. And people come from all kinds of walks of life, to be honest, and for different reasons. Usually they've hit a ceiling somewhere in their lives. I'll give you examples. We do a lot of couples coaching. Couples are going through struggles in their relationships. They've been married for a while or they've been dating for a while. And they're just things that they can't seem to move past. They've hit some sort of ceiling in their relationship. This specific modality, breakthrough coaching, is so beautiful and helpful for couples. We had a couple that came to see us. They had been separated for 5 months. They'd been married for 10 years. And they saw each other the first night before their session together. And they came over and we did a session together and I used all the different modalities that I have. And they reconnected that night. They moved in back together. And I just spoke with her the other day because we also work in different ways. And she said to me, "You guys saved my marriage. Like, I just, how do you thank somebody for that?" So marriage is a big one. Financial. People have reached a lot of success in their lives and they feeling burned out, almost like as if, what is the meaning? What's the purpose of all of this? I have somebody who is very, very successful. I have many clients who are very successful. They have their millions in their bank accounts. They have their businesses going. And they're at a point where they're like, now what? What's the purpose of all of this? Now what is life about? So they'll come to me to really, again, discover what do they not know about themselves that's keeping them in a certain level of life satisfaction, purpose, meaning, and how can they break through to experiencing life with a lot more color, a lot more joy, a lot more love, a lot more satisfaction, a lot more fun and play. And then I have clients that come and they're in the opposite spectrum. They've been working their lives, but they haven't been able to really build the wealth or create the income they wanted to create in their lives. And they're wondering why. And similar process, we'll go backwards. We go into early childhood, but sometimes past lives, ancestral lineage. we go into figuring out what's keeping them stuck on that financial limit that they've been at for a while. And we help them break through. And the changes that they experience is just incredible, going from struggling to pay their bills to providing for their families, getting a new job, growing their businesses, getting a new contract. And then health is the other one. People are feeling stuck. They haven't really been able to make a difference in their health. They're either experiencing conditions with their health, or they're just unhealthy habits. They're not sleeping enough. They're not eating well. They're not exercising. They're not having a lot of fun with their bodies. They don't even know their bodies that well. So we'll do the similar process. We'll kind of go and find out what's keeping them stuck, and then we'll help them break through to a new level. So I have many clients who, after going through the process, they would do something like 75 hard, and they'll jump into a physical challenge. They'll start doing more movements. They'll go back to the gym. They'll start dancing and moving and having fun, playing sports, and breaking through health conditions to like a healthier life overall.
Amazing. Okay, so what led you to this healing work in the first place?
Yeah, so I started this work because I started with my own work and my own journey. As you know, I built a real estate business and portfolio and reached success financially. I'm really happy and grateful for that. But I also was wondering, like, what else is there now? And you usually teach what you know and what you've experienced yourself. I had reached some sort of ceiling in my life. And when I first came through this modality, I had reached out to a facilitator and had spoken with them. And that's what I said. I said, I have some sort of ceiling above I don't even know what it is. Like, we have the business, we've been successful, have the marriage, the house, the kids. Something just is off. Like, I don't even know what it is. And this is how I started. And I went to my first session, and I've been to retreats, and I've done a lot of work internally to figure it out. What don't I know that's keeping me stuck? And I just have to tell you about this. The first retreat that I went to, I had this beautiful experience of going back all the way to my maternity room when my mom was delivering me. And she actually got to hand me to me. And I took little baby infant Adriana in my hands, and I had a chance to just so purely love on her and celebrate her life, the fact that she was here. And that shifted something inside of me. We don't realize how much trauma we can store in our bodies, in our memory, in our DNA, things that have been passed down or things that happened during our childhood and our lifetime. And once I was able to love that deeply on her, I learned for the first time to actually truly love myself. And that shifted several things in my life, from how I show up, the relationships that I have, how I eat, how I take care of my body, how I enjoy life. And I didn't even know that that was a thing. I didn't even know that was there.
Wow, that's amazing. Sorry, I lost my question here. So, what did healing change in your life?
Yeah, that was a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Healing changed self-love. I don't think I knew what it was until I was able to literally love on myself. Back to the maternity room story and having an opportunity to experience receiving myself as an infant and giving her. The fact is, my parents were in and out already during that time. My mom got pregnant with me. I was a surprise pregnancy. Their marriage was in a really tough spot. In fact, my dad left several times while my mom was pregnant with me. There was a lot of stress and chaos around me coming into the world. Things that I knew about the stories here and there as my mom told me over the years. And there was almost a sense of like, my dad had a sense of like, was this done on purpose? So there was a lot of questions and stress and chaos around my birth and my pregnancy. And my mom being pregnant with me. As you can imagine, the infant takes up on that. They feel the energy of like not being fully wanted, bringing more chaos into the world. And I didn't even know that those things were in my system until I was able to go backwards and actually discover what was in my subconscious mind that was keeping me stuck and feeling small, feeling unwanted, feeling unloved. And I had a chance to rewire that. So a lot of what I do in breakthrough coaching is rewiring your nervous system, rewiring pathways in your brain that have connected to tell you a message of you're not loved, you're not worth it, you're not worthy, you're not wanted. And we actually get to rewire that to say, you know what? You're so loved. You're so wanted. You're so special. And I get to do that for myself. I get to tell her how celebrated she is, how much was meant to be here, how much of an impact she can generate, how loved she is, no matter what, no matter who says that to her. That rewires your system, and you can now, the things that have been holding you back for so long that you didn't even know were there are now free. They release, they uncoil, and you can make different choices in your life, and you can show up differently for yourself. And who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that this was some of the answers that I needed to find?
Why do so many high achievers burn out and feel stuck?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is probably one of the highest type of clients, or the most type of clients that I get is clients that are burned out. They very often will describe being stuck in a rat wheel, going around and around in loops. They're trying everything. They're performing high. They have their businesses or their jobs, but they feel stuck. A lot of clients will use these words to describe where they're at in life. And it's interesting because you look at their lives, and again, they have the money, they have the house, they have the family, and you think, you have everything. How can you be unhappy? How can you feel stuck? How can you not be thriving? What I find is the reason why they created the lives that they've created can come from different places. And sometimes it comes from places of not feeling loved, wanting to prove yourself, wanting to be successful because your parents thought you should be successful, or wanting to create some kind of business or job because it was what you thought you needed to do. And after a while, and even though you've had the success, it feels misaligned. It feels something is off, and I cannot get off this wheel because I've created this whole life out of some sort of trauma in my life that happened early on, or some sort of environmental components in my life. Then now what? I already created, now I'm in it, now I can't get out. And it felt right at the time because you're operating from a different place. So, and then most people don't know they're in burnout mode when they are in it. Most people don't realize until it's almost too late and you have to slow down your life so significantly. And burnout takes years to recover from. It can take years. Part of what we do at Breakthrough Coaching is fast forward that process for you and help you fast forward the process of recognizing burnout and recovering from burnout fast. And if we can recognize soon enough, we can help you not have to slow down so much that it almost takes you backwards in life for a little bit, which is necessary sometimes. And that's what happened to me after I built my portfolio. I was burned out and I didn't even know I was. When I started getting this coaching for myself, my life slowed down. I took, quite a significant amount of time off. I took a year, 18 months, slowed down everything that I was doing, sold one of my businesses because I was feeling very misaligned. And I spent time taking care of myself. First of all, real estate gave me the great advantage to be able to do that and actually slow down my schedule. But two is, it took quite a bit of time and self-work to get myself to a place where I can now build again from a much more aligned place of knowing who I am, knowing what's important to me, knowing what I'm going for.
Amazing. Sorry, did I ask this question? What's different about your approach?
You haven't.
I haven't. Okay, so what's different about your approach?
Yeah, so what's really different, and the business is called Limitless You. What's really different about what I do specifically is I combine therapy and coaching modalities in one place. Usually when you go to therapy, you spend a lot of time talking about what's wrong. What's wrong? What happened in your childhood? What's wrong now? And I mean, Anton and I have done and are still doing sometimes regular therapy. And it's been interesting to watch the approach. And this is why therapy usually will take years for you to see some progress and real change. They prepare you ahead of time that this is going to be a long process. And therapy is beautiful because it does matter what happened and it does matter what's wrong, but you can't end there. And for you to experience the quick and fast breakthroughs that clients experience with this coaching is we also bring in coaching modalities, which is forward looking. So we are going backwards. We do early childhood work. We kind of find out what happened. How does your system receive the messages of what happened in that time of your life? And how is that holding you back now? And then we look forward. So one of the most beautiful techniques that I use that I made the most significant change for me was meeting my highest self. Another way of saying that is creating an alter ego. They're similar things. I find that meeting my highest self has a deeper meaning than creating an alter ego because it's not a logical process. It was a very emotional, spiritual process for me. And that changed everything because once I had an idea of who it is that I truly am in my highest form, I had something to anchor to. And it wasn't just about looping around what's wrong. Yes, now I know what's wrong, but now I know where I'm going, who I am, who I'm becoming, and what does she feel like? What does she look like? How does she... And when people talk about my transformation, like, who are you? I'm like, I'm a much higher version of myself than I was, before, because I've done the work to anchor in who she is, and she is.
Amazing. So what's the biggest transformation you've witnessed in a client?
Yeah, several. So this work is breakthrough coaching. It is transformational in nature. I have a client, we did a few sessions together. She's been to some of our retreats. She was stuck, beautiful, beautiful person, single mom, and looking to find love. And she had been stuck in repeating old patterns of relationships. She didn't even know why. Because every time she got in a relationship, it would end very similar. It would bring the same type of chaos to her life. And everybody looking from the outside, like, well, how is this possible? You're beautiful, you're successful, so intelligent. How can you, of all people, not be finding love in this, world? And it wasn't until we went backwards and found out some of the trauma that had been created by her relationship with her dad. And he had been an alcoholic, had brought a lot of chaos to their home, and her system was just used to chaos. And unconsciously, she was seeking that in relationship. And it wasn't until we unlocked that, rewired those memories and those feelings in her body, and future-paced. That's something that we do in our coaching, which is we take you into your future and you get to envision who you're meeting. It was a beautiful session. We still talk about this today. We future-paced where she met her future partner. And it's much more about how does he make me feel? What does our relationship look like? Which is very different feelings than what she's used to experiencing so far. And it wasn't like a few short months. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 months later, she met somebody and they're now talking marriage. And she keeps going back to that future vision that we did together. And she's like, he feels like that. So regardless of where it ends up, it's not about an outcome, but the fact that you get to anchor into who you're becoming makes such massive shifts in how you show up.
Amazing. All good?
All good?
Yeah, all good.
Cool.
Wow, crushed it.